always on your side. This is First Coast News at 6.
Right now at 6, a massive system pushing through our area, bringing severe storms across the First Coast. And just in, we've learned that there are reports of downed power lines in Flagler County.
Now, near Tampa this afternoon, that same system produced strong storms, and Tim's telling us several tornadoes. Take a look there. This new video just into our newsroom, and according to our storm experts, there were multiple tornado warnings issued in the Tampa area. We are told tonight that at least one person was hurt, and there are reports of several damaged homes in that area. Good evening. I'm Jeannie Blaylock.
And I'm Anthony Austin. So let's get right over to storm expert Tim Deacon, who is tracking the storms in our area. Tim.
Thank you, Anthony and Jeannie. And the headline is that the storm threat, that is as far as the wind damage threat, even for us here on the First Coast, that is over. All right, so that's the headline. Now let's take a look at the big picture. This is a look back at the last 3 hours as the cold front. This is the same cold front that started producing tornadoes in the Houston area 2 evenings ago. Just 24 hours ago, we were tracking a potential tornado between Tallahassee and the Valdosta area, and then it re-erupted with energy over the northeastern Gulf of Mexico, came ashore. So far, the hardest hit area, as we're showing you, in the Tampa Bay area. But then look at all of these wind damage reports that we've received just over the last 90 minutes as the line of thunderstorms along the cold front, pretty much from St. John's, Putnam, and Flagler County southward is where we saw the thunderstorms become reinvigorated enough to cause wind damage, and now all the way through Orlando and now all the way down to the Space Coast. In fact, for anybody who has travel plans, just so you know, for the next hour, severe thunderstorm warnings in effect from Volusia County all the way down through about the Indian River area. But again, the threat for wind damage is over. What about just plain rain? Well, for those of you out toward the Swanee, around the Okefenokee, outside of a drip or two, that is it. And in fact, you'll probably see some pretty nice colors as far as the setting sun. For the rest of us on the First Coast, and I'm talking about coastal Glenn, Camden, Nassau County, onto the south, we have the rain, but the rain will lighten up. For those of you in St. John's, Flagler, and Putnam County, steady to occasionally heavy rain for about another hour or so. But then the computer models all support that's heading offshore, and so we're going to see conditions dry out and cool down, but not dramatically so. Notice temperatures as we head through the evening hours just gradually dropping from the 70s into the 60s. I'll talk about cooler weather and which day this weekend will be dry in just a few moments.
Tim, thanks so much. And be sure to download the First Coast News app for updates just right there in the palm of your hand. You can also keep an eye on weather conditions in your area. It's free in the App Store.
Tonight, a violent and dangerous gang dismantled. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office says it has effectively taken down the Rolling 20s gang, which had a hand in murder and drug trafficking here in Jacksonville. In all, 46 alleged gang members are off the streets of Jacksonville, and we have exclusive video of the 2-year-long operation. On your side's Eric Alvarez joins us now to explain what this mega operation means for families here on the First Coast.
The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office says the goal of this operation is to investigate, disrupt, and dismantle. JSO believes it did exactly that. This operation took 31 firearms off of the streets, including 24 handguns, 6 assault-style rifles, and a shotgun. This operation also ended with 46 gang members behind bars.
And at any given time, any of those could have been involved in a shooting, a robbery, a murder.
For 2 years, JSO, the ATF, and prosecutors unraveled the net, revealing a subset of the Bloods called the Rolling 20s, which operated up and down the East Coast and into parts of California. Fast forward to October 24th, when First Coast News captured this exclusive footage of an arrest at the AutoZone on Atlantic Boulevard. We learned on Friday it was part of a much larger crackdown in which 15 gang members were arrested on the same day. Despite the apparent success of the operation, JSO says the Rolling 20s is just one of over 50 gangs operating inside Jacksonville. The mayor says the takedown of the Rolling 20s is only the beginning.
To all the men and women that made this happen, thank you. And to the bad guys that are out there, they're still coming after you.
JSO and the ATF say 5 Rolling 20s gang members are still out on the streets. Anyone with information about these men is asked to call Crime Stoppers. Eric Alvarez, First Coast News, on your side.
Eric, thank you. Now, one of the men arrested during the operation is also being charged on the federal level. Kirkland Lawrence was arrested on felony charges of attempted robbery in 2006. He was then released, but violated his probation for possessing a firearm, as seen in the pictures there, leading to his latest arrest. Now, community activists describe the Rolling 20s gang as the most active gang in Jacksonville, and some believe today's crackdown on the gang is going to be a major impact on the city's crime problem. This comes as the city is putting together a task force on crime and safety. And On Your Side's Ken Amaro spoke today with the chairman and those folks who are working to keep kids out of the gangs. Ken?
That's correct, Jeannie. A few months ago, TK Waters, JSO gang expert, told me there are more than 30 gangs in Jacksonville. Today, we heard that number is 50. And while the arrest of the Rolling 20s gang members is a victory to some, to others, it is being seen as a temporary reprieve to a problem. They say it will take a culture change to keep kids away from the gang life. JSO began its crackdown last week, arresting gang members, sending a strong message.
I think it's a temporary fix.
Andrew George runs the Evening Reporting Center at St. Paul Baptist Church.
They rotate, so when you cut off the head, a new head is going to grow.
His mission is keeping kids out of the gang life.
The kids that stay with us have not reoffended. They haven't been in trouble. We've seen grades go up. We've seen GPAs go up.
He says 100 kids have been through Evening Project with success.
But we're constantly in their lives, and that's really what it's going to take to break the cycle.
Pastor Mark Griffin heads the city's newly formed Crime and Safety Task Force.
We have to do something.
He says the gangs are filling a void.
Where young people feel like they have to associate in these type of negative activities in order to have a sense of belonging.
Griffin says the task force in the coming days will be looking at ways to break that cycle.
We need to see what we can do to fill in those gaps.
The message from the gang crackdown, says Griffin, is if you get involved, you will get arrested. But looking beyond today, Andrew George says the solution lies with the community.
It's a cultural change that needs to happen. It's not, you can't police your way out of it, you can't legislate your way out of it. It takes the entire community and it takes consistency. And that's what we've been trying to do here at St. Paul.
Breaking the cycle means changing the climate so that every conflict is now resolved through gunplay. As we've reported before, the city is enlisting the help of Cure Violence. The nonprofit treats violence like a disease and believes a stronger, healthier community will stem the violence. Back to you.
Ken, thank you. And another known gang member not related to the recent operation is in jail tonight. Jamal Lincoln has been charged with felony carjacking and possession of a controlled substance. Now, this is all in connection to the officer-involved shooting Wednesday night in Moncrief. He and 3 others are accused of beating up a senior citizen and stealing his truck. The judge denied Lincoln bond today for that carjacking charge. His next court date is later this month. New at 6 tonight, a Jacksonville man is under arrest in connection to a recent murder. 21-year-old Xavier Daniels has been charged in the death of Desmond White. According to JSO, on October 29th, officers found White on Royal Court Lane with multiple gunshot wounds. He was taken to the hospital where he later died. Now, witnesses told police Daniels and White got into an altercation, and that's when Daniels shot White. Daniels was interviewed by police and was arrested.
Also new tonight, nearly 30 Chihuahuas need a new home. The dogs were rescued from a home earlier this week at Interlochen by a group called Fawn Small Rescue Dogs and some other nonprofits. Tonight, On Your Side's Nick Pro has this story from Keystone Heights.
Come on, handsome Tommy. I know how handsome you are.
Here at the Ravenwood Farm, Handsome Tommy has some competition for now.
This is Trixie, and this is Pumpkin.
Well, Handsome Tommy is a family pet of Chris and Dale Dunn.
This is going to get you home, honey.
Pumpkin and Trixie are among over 24 Chihuahuas. Dunn, Fawn Small Dog Rescue, and other nonprofits rescued inside an Interlochen home Tuesday.
This particular hoarding case was a matter of older people. He was ill, and it just got away from him.
Some hid under furniture, others found in crates, and some out in the open.
We are dealing with a lot of dehydration and starvation, so a lot of them are on IVs to rehydrate them, and heartworm positive.
Some pregnant, others weeks old. Trixie and Pumpkin waiting to visit the vet to find out their condition.
There are services. Call somebody. Call one of the rescues. They'll tell you immediately. We have to take care of them, and if you can't, then let someone else do it for you.
Dunn says if you have 3 things, you can help Pumpkin, Trixie, and the others looking for a home.
It takes time and patience and lots of love.
If you think you'd be a good fit, just contact Dunn at Ravenwood Farm, 904-626-1990.
We're going to find you a home where you're going to be loved and cared for.
And Dunn expects to return Monday to that home to pick up roughly another 20 or so puppies. Keep it right here on when they'd be available for adoption. We're in Keystone Heights tonight. Nick Perot, First Coast News, on your side.
Oh, I know someone would love to have them at their home. We'll take you beyond the ballot tonight with just 4 days left until Election Day. The campaign trail is heating up. Just a short time ago, Governor Rick Scott held a Get Out the Vote rally in Jacksonville with South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham. It was held at Trinity Christian Academy over on Hammond Boulevard. Scott is running against Senator Bill Nelson for the Senate seat. Meanwhile, Senator Bill Nelson joined former President Barack Obama and Democratic gubernatorial candidate Andrew Gillum in Miami for a rally. At the moment, Nelson is the only Democrat holding statewide office in Florida. Should Gillum win, he will be Florida's first black governor. Also today, Republican candidate for Governor Ron DeSantis made campaign stops in Tampa, West Palm Beach, and Naples. Senator Marco Rubio joined him in Tampa. Today, both Rubio and DeSantis portrayed the governor's race as a battle to protect Florida's economic and regulatory climate.
Well, early voting in Georgia is now over and polls closed at 5 p.m. But here's a look at when early voting ends in other parts of our area. In Florida, early voting still going on, but it ends tomorrow for the following counties: Baker, Clay, Columbia, Nassau, Putnam, St. Johns, and Union County. And then on Sunday, early voting ends for Bradford and Duval County. And remember, Tuesday, Election Day, is November 6th. Now, if you'd like to learn more about the candidates and where they stand on the important issues, you can go to the politics section on our website, firstcoastnews.com.
For one Waycross family, this was their dream home. But on Halloween night, they lost everything. Now they're trying to recover and get back on their feet, but they're thankful to be alive. That story is coming up.